Hello everybody, let me tell you a new story today. Today's story comes from Ma, Mr. Ma. To make the story easier to tell, let's give him an English name. Let's call him Mark. Mark's family is from Guizhou. Mark's mother is the second child in her family, with an older sister who is Mark's aunt, and a younger brother who is Mark's uncle. Mark's grandparents and uncle's family live in Guiyang, while Mark's family lives in Beijing, and the aunt lives in a county near Guiyang. Mark's parents are in business and have been very successful, so their family is quite well off. They have tried several times to bring their parents to live in Beijing, but the elderly couple couldn't adapt to the climate and environment there, so they only stayed there for a short period. Overall, this is a happy big family. In 2015, Mark's aunt was diagnosed with cancer, a rare type. After the diagnosis, the doctors told the family that the cancer was very special and that the patient's physical condition was now very poor, making surgery unsuitable. They could only adopt chemotherapy, a conservative treatment with little hope for a complete cure. The whole family was very sad, and Mark's mother even brought the aunt to Beijing for treatment, spending a lot of money, but in the end they couldn't keep the aunt, and she passed away. There is a Chinese saying, diseases can be treated, but fate cannot. Aging, illness, and death are a natural process. Every day is the youngest day of every life. So time is truly the most ruthless thing. Therefore, let's cherish every day of our lives. Alright, let's get back to the story. The most heartbroken was Mark's grandfather. It was a case of parents mourning their child, watching their eldest daughter leave the world with no way to help. Despite the sadness, life must go on, and the whole family, with their heavy hearts, arranged the aunt's funeral. Mark's parents and uncle's family all returned to attend the funeral. Mark's aunt had a tough life. Her marriage was unhappy. Her husband was an alcoholic, with a terrible temper, who would beat his wife and children after drinking. Later, the aunt filed for divorce, and her daughter was awarded to the father by the court. Mark, however, did not have time to attend his aunt's funeral because he was sent abroad on a business trip by his company. When he received a call from home, Mark cried. But his family advised him not to rush back, as there wasn't enough time. They told him to focus on his work and return to Guiyang when he was back in China. After the business trip finally ended, Mark and his colleagues returned to Beijing, and he took leave and bought a plane ticket back to Guiyang immediately. Upon returning home, Mark saw his grandparents tearfully, and they all cried together. He discussed with his mother and uncle about bringing his grandparents to Beijing to live for a while, to change their environment and mood, which would be better for their health. Later, Mark, being very tired, went to bed early. In the middle of the night, Mark was awakened by noise. His cousin, who was about 2 years old, was crying very pitifully. Mark felt something was wrong, so he got up and went to the living room. He checked the time. It was 1:30 a.m. His grandparents, uncle's wife, and mother were all sitting in the living room. Mark asked, "What are you doing?" The only one making noise was his young cousin, and no one else was talking. The atmosphere was very strange. Mark asked his mother, but she did not speak. His uncle replied, "Nothing serious. He had a nightmare." He told his mother that he saw his aunt waving at him by the window. Uncle's wife said, "That's nonsense. We live in a high-rise building. I told you not to talk nonsense. Go to sleep." But the child just cried and wouldn't sleep. Mark asked his grandmother what was going on. She said, "It's late. You should go to sleep. I'll tell you tomorrow." Mark wanted to ask more questions, but his mother said, "You just got back to that. And there are some things We haven't told you yet. Go to sleep. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Seeing the situation, Mark realized that things seemed complicated, and there were definitely things he didn't know. Since no one wanted to talk about it now, Mark tried to comfort his young cousin and returned to his bedroom. However, he couldn't sleep either, and he got up until dawn. The others also got up, prepared breakfast, ate. After the meal, Mark's grandmother, mother, and Mark went into the living room together. His grandmother and mother told him what had happened during this period. After listening, Mark felt very angry and sad, and also found it unbelievable and chilling. Here's what happened. After the aunt was diagnosed with cancer, Mark's grandparents called aunt's daughter, their granddaughter, and said, "Your mother is sick with cancer. Very serious. You should come back right away." But the girl made up a lot of excuses, saying she was too busy with work to leave, and hung up the phone impatiently without returning. Did not see her mother for the last time. Later, Mark's mother and uncle called the girl several times, and she finally returned. But it seemed as if it wasn't her mother who had died. She did not cry, and seemed it was none of her business. Very impatient. There were many details to discuss with the deceased family about the funeral arrangements. But the girl said, "Don't come to me. I have no money, and I don't understand. You go find someone else." Fortunately, Mark's mother and uncle were there to help with the funeral details, preventing the aunt's funeral from being too embarrassing. During the stay at the funeral home, relatives and friends would go and offer condolences, and the aunt's daughter should have been the one to do this, but the girl refused. There was also the matter of the cemetery, which the girl also ignored, and in the end, Mr. Gao solved it. Mr. Gao was the aunt's boyfriend, and the two were preparing to get married, but the aunt had passed away. Mr. Gao participated in the aunt's funeral and was also very sad. As a result, the aunt's daughter said, "Okay, if you want to pay, then pay. You have nothing to do with me. If you want to spend money, it's your business." In the end, the aunt was buried in Mr. Gao's family cemetery. The most affected by the funeral were Mark's grandparents, and the girl's attitude deeply hurt them both. Strange things happened on the 7th day after the aunt's death. It is said that on this day, the soul of the deceased will return home to take one last look at their family and home. Although the custom of 7th day varies in different parts of China, this custom is universal. That night, uncle's wife had to work, so the grandparents took care of their grandson. The child and the grandmother slept in a large bedroom, and grandfather slept in a small bedroom. They all went to bed before 10 o'clock, but they hadn't fallen asleep yet when grandmother heard a noise in the living room. She thought it might be her grandson running around, but the child was sleeping soundly beside her. Then she sat up in bed and asked, "Daughter, is that you coming back?" The noise disappeared. She listened for a while, and when there was no sound, she lay down to sleep. But within 10 minutes, there was a noise in the bedroom, footsteps circling the bed. Grandmother heard it very clearly and was a bit scared. She turned on the light, and as soon as the light on, the noise disappeared. Then grandmother went to call her husband, and the old man checked the entire apartment, but found nothing unusual. He said to his wife, "You are just too sad and miss our daughter too much. Hallucinating, and stop thinking on her. I go to bed soon." But grandmother said, "I did hear the noise." Grandfather did not return to the small bedroom, but slept in the large bedroom as well. Soon after the lights were turned off, the noise came again, still circling the bed. Grandfather heard it too. The footsteps stopped beside him in the dark. He felt someone stood beside him, and this person even called out, "Dad," in his ear. The grandfather sat up in a sudden, turned on the light, and asked his wife, "Did you hear that?" She heard it too. And since then, the grandparents couldn't sleep. The child was also awakened by the noise and kept crying. The two elders settled the child to sleep on the living room sofa, and the two of them sat on the sofa all night. At dawn, the grandfather called Mark's uncle and asked him to come over immediately, bringing some peach wood, and also called Mark's mother, asking her to check the aunt's grave. Mark's mother went immediately and did not find anything unusual. She burned some paper money, but things did not get better. It became even more terrifying. In the following days, the grandparents slept in a large bedroom. The uncle and wife took the child and slept in a small bedroom, and Mark's mother slept in the guest bedroom. The whole family was in this apartment. Mark's mother heard strange noises first, and when she opened her eyes, she saw something white like a kite floating towards her. She was very scared. But the white kite did not fly to the bed, perhaps afraid of the peachwood sword hanging at the head of the bed. We will talk about the peachwood sword later. She did not dare to call others and just to turn on the light and read books all night. The next day, she told her family, and everyone did not know what was going on, but they thought it was the aunt's ghost making trouble. What's going on? Does she have something on her mind? Strange things continued. The next night, the grandmother had a dream that she returned to her hometown. From afar, she saw her hometown house, and a person was standing at the door. When she looked back, it was her cousin from her hometown, wearing a red cotton jacket and gray cotton pants. In a dream, she called out, "Sister." The person turned around, and she saw it was her eldest daughter. She was scared awake and found her husband sitting on the bed. She asked, "Why aren't you sleeping?" The grandfather said, "Listen, is there a noise outside the window? And where is the peachwood sword by my bedside?" Just at that moment, the child started crying and saying, "I saw Auntie. I saw Auntie. She ignored me. She didn't speak." The child kept crying, and the whole family got up. Mark's uncle said, "I'd better contact my friend. He knows a master. I think my sister may have something she can't let go of, and have something to say. This situation is definitely not right." The next day, the uncle contacted the master and made an appointment to visit his home. The master listened to the uncle's description and said, "It's your sister's ghost. I'll give you 3 talismans." After speaking, he took out 3 talismans, human-shaped talismans with some patterns drawn on them, as if they were dressed people, and he handed them to the uncle. The master said, "When your sister passed away, there was a young family member she didn't see. Before this person comes back, there will definitely be inexplicable noises at home. Don't be afraid or nervous. She won't hurt you. When this person comes back, tell them to go to the road in front of your door, find a crossroad, and burn these 3 talismans and paper money together." The master continued. After burning, the next day, all the family members should go to the cemetery, especially your parents, Mark's grandparents. If there is anything they want to say to their daughter, they can say it there. Then just go home. The master continued. Before this younger family member comes back, this matter cannot be resolved. It must wait for him to come back and burn this paper money and talismans. So everybody, who is this younger family member? Dear friends, have you guessed? Yes, it's Mark. The aunt knew who was good to her and who loved her the most. So even though she died, she still couldn't let go and wouldn't leave, waiting for Mark to come home. Mark listened to his grandmother tell the whole story. and he was overwhelmed with grief and cried again, holding his grandmother's hand. That night, he burnt the talismans and paper money at the crossroad as the master had said. The next day, the whole family drove to the aunt's grave. The grandparents said a lot at the grave, and Mark couldn't stop his tears. The whole family cried for a long time at the cemetery. After that, there were no more strange things in the house, but Mark's grandparents seemed to have aged several years after this incident. Mark told me this story, and I didn't know how to comfort him. In the end, I told him I hope the auntie is rest in peace in another world. You and I are ordinary people. Who knows what trials and tribulations, hardships, and setbacks we will encounter in this life. No one knows whether tomorrow or accident will come first. So live every day steadily, with a harmonious family and good health. Even if life is plain, it is actually gratifying and fortunate. So everyone, about the peachwood sword. Taoism believes that a sword made of peachwood has a deterrent effect on ghosts. Hanging a peachwood sword at the door prevents ghosts from entering the room. Peachwood facing southeast has more yang energy and is more effective because it faces the sun. It is good material to make swords if it is struck by lightning. But the peach tree is still alive. Then such peach wood is the better material for making a sword. If a peach tree is struck by lightning and does not die, facing southeast, it is the best material for making a peachwood sword. That's not something money can buy. Even if someone has the opportunity to find this material, such a top-grade peachwood sword should be one of the important magical tools in the hands of high-level Taoist priests. Okay, everybody, this is the end of the story. Please share what you think of the story and your stories. If you enjoy my work and would like to help me to continue to bring this story to you, please subscribe to my channel or like my page. Give a thumbs up to the stories you appreciate and share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I love to read them. Share the stories with anyone who might find them enjoyable, and I need a co-editor, everyone, a native English speaker, to make these stories better. Thank you, everybody. This is Alex's Story Time, and I am Alex. I got a lot of good stories to share with you. So, see you next time.